Hello, my name is Alan, my pronouns are he, him, and tonight I'm running the third of 4 sessions of Against the Dark Conspiracy. This is my own game of supernatural espionage, owing a great debt to Night's Black Agents, and in fact I'm using some Night's Black Agents material, particularly the Dubai Reckoning, to scaffold these sessions. If you want to know more about the game, then please do refer to the first in this series. I'm not going to over-egg it, apart from to say that we are playing today as part of the Gauntlet calendar. Don't know about the Gauntlet, please do come, search Gauntlet-RPG and come find out about us. And I think there might possibly be the odd seat left in games running next weekend, 24th to 27th of June, as the part of our most recent Gauntlet Community Open Gaming, which is our free effort to encourage more people to play different games and to play online. So do look us up. Again, you'll find more at the beginning of session 1. We are playing today with a set of safety rules. We're playing with the X card if people are disturbed in a bad way, and I've played with all these players before, so they all know how we use the X card. And again, refer to the first one if you want more guidance on that. We're playing with some lines and veils, and I will just remind the players that if there's anything that they've wanted to add to that, please feel free to add it to the tab in the Character Keeper. We're also playing with an open door, so if something comes up in the real world or people need to step away from the table, that's fine. We'd love them to come back, but if they don't, that's fine, because there's life and there's games, and sometimes life is more important. And finally, we're playing within the Gauntlet Community Code of Conduct, which I think is an excellent document that encourages people to play respectfully of one another and one another's approach. So look us up. Do come play with us. But before I recap where we were, let's reintroduce our characters. These former criminals and burned spies who have, for all kinds of reasons, these imperfect individuals find themselves defending the world against a vampiric conspiracy in the shadows. So, because I'm boring, I will go again in Character Keeper order. Will, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Jimmy Rook.
Hi, I'm Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of Jimmy Rook, a criminal turned MI6 asset turned vampire hunter, part of a former run of Night's Black Agents who took down an Orphic conspiracy of shadow vampires, and then has continued the mission even as his colleagues have retired to lives of bureaucracy and comfort.
Or actually died in hell.
Yes, those are the two options, yeah.
Yeah, there was only 2 ways to go after that, and Jimmy's the only one who continues to hunt vampires. Okay, thank you for that. I'm moving along. Paul, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Lena Carpi.
Hello, I'm Paul, he, him, and the character I'm playing in this series is Lena Carpi, she, her. Lena is a ex-Finnish police investigator with some conscription military background behind that. And Lena is searching for details of her missing husband, who was undercover in Europol, and he's gone missing. So she's trying to find out what's happened to him.
And of course, a good way to find out about that is to talk about them in play and turn them into a conspiracy target on the off chance that I could reintroduce them because their teenage daughter ends up leading you to them. Just saying. Then moving along, Pavel, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Vlad Rostov.
Good evening, I'm Pavel. I'm playing Vlad, who is ex-GRU signal intelligence analyst. Now he's working with this fine group of vampire slayers. He was in the conspiracy and then he was kicked out from the conspiracy because he learned too much. And yeah, so in last episode he was disarming some bombs, and maybe he still have it ready to be used today. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, I know it wasn't left in that hotel room. That's all I can say to you. So I don't know where it is. Maybe Vlad does. And finally, Lowell, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Eunjung Ri.
Hi, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and I'm running Unjung Ri, who is also a character from a previous campaign, but a different one with a much smaller footprint. My character is a former assassin for the CIA who managed to get somebody in the crosshairs last time and who didn't drop a helicopter into a crowded public city, though had to kill more people than she would have liked in the course of things. And she is a little wound tight right now. Her pronouns are she, her.
Thank you. Yeah, and just as a reminder, it looks like everyone is sitting on three stress at the moment, apart from Lena, who's feeling a little bit cooler than that. And I'll also remind you that you have quite a lot of intel sitting about that could be spent. Just then to reprise previously on Against the Dark Conspiracy, what we saw was Lena Carpi leaping off the top of a 7-star hotel with a parachute come, what would you call it? A flying wing of some description.
Flying wing, parasail.
Parasail, better word. With a Finnish flag on the top, strapped to Torvald Kane in a wheelchair. And we saw Lena sweeping down out over the Arabian Gulf and landing on David Beckham's yacht because she had a contact with Beckham's master, the guy who runs his boat. I'm not sure what the other members of staff, as far as we know, the Beckhams are not on board, but maybe they're somewhere else in Dubai. Meanwhile, as Lowell suggested there, Unjung had some trouble remembering how to fly a helicopter. We knew that she knew how to fly a helicopter once. That was a bit iffy, but she managed to get off the top of this 7-star hotel with Jimmy and Vlad in a helicopter stolen from AgriWealth, the conspiracy proxy that these operations seem to be rotating around, and landing on the helicopter pad on the Beckham's yacht. And I have added, folks, to the Operation 3 Site B, what I understand to be the current state of play. So you have the following leads. Site B is an AgriWealth agricultural research station in the Emirati desert, built as a joint venture with the United Arab Emirates governments to green the desert, and it's been operating for about 2 years. You know that Torvald was being taken there, Torvald Kane, the man you've rescued, from real kidnappers rather than the staged kidnap he set up. And you know that because the sat-nav and flight plan is logged in the helicopter. You'll be pleased to know, Unjung, that it has a reasonably sophisticated autopilot. So it will be a question of, pressing button A, and it ought to fly itself back to where, or follow that flight plan to where it was supposed to go. In terms of what is going on there, I think that, it's anybody's guess. What I've done is to provide some guidance in terms of, you will have time, not a lot of time, but you will have perhaps an hour, a window, before you need, if you're going to go to Site B, you will need to go there. Because once a bomb doesn't go off in that hotel, the people at AgriWealth are going to think something may not have gone entirely to plan. So I think if you stretch your interval to more than an hour, you're going to be in trouble if the intention is to just skip straight on to Site B. But the Arab Emirates government website yields images of dignitaries being shown verdant crops growing in several hectares of desert without irrigation, it looks like. In the background is a fenced compound with some single and 2-story concrete structures, which you are working on the assumption, not unreasonably, this is Site B. A close look at those pictures shows people in desert camo gear manning towers on the kind of cardinal points of that compound, overlooking both the fields and the compound itself. The compound is not small. There is easily room to put a helicopter down in the middle. I would have thought it's probably the better part of 100 yards square, with a number of buildings. The helicopter sat-nav shows it was used to ferry Torval and the supposed Mrs. Kane from the airport several days ago to Site B, then back to the hotel. It also made another trip to the airport and back to Site B during the day yesterday. Your operation went off during the night. So it's gone to the airport, gone back to the desert, come to the hotel, and that's where you've managed to take out the team that was with it. In terms of, you can have telephone communication with Ursula Kane / Lynn Cederblom. And, she's very clear that she can't tell you what's going on at Site B. Her job as the chief executive of AgriWealth is really to provide a legal skin over the top of this festering sore of conspiracy greed. So she would expect it to look like it's supposed to look, but God knows what's underneath the surface. The only other bit of information I think you have is from Torvald, who came to, he'd been drugged, he came to on the yacht with Lena, and he told Lena that he had overheard, he thought she was his wife, his real wife, Ursula Lynn, saying that the guys who kidnapped him and you took out said something like, they're going to raise the general and you're needed. Not a lot more than that. You've done a little bit of background searching on a general, but at this point, that seems like another operation away. But that's my summary. Let me go back along the character keeper and just say if there's anything you want to add or clarify. Let's start with Jimmy. Anything you think that I've missed in terms of state of play?
No, I mean, Torvald's relatively incommunicable, right? Like, can't really interrogate him and say, like, which of these buildings is Donald David Donald in, kind of thing.
I think that you probably don't have the time for that, Iona, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you're gonna use the helicopter to get to that site and get into it, the hour window you've got is going to be largely spent with, ferrying stuff from your safe house.
Yes, I just want to grab some guns. That's pretty much it.
Big gun, another big gun.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Lena? Is there anything that Lena thinks that I've missed in that summary, or you want to clarify?
No, I think that's good. Yeah, we could always flash back to the safe house. Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay. What about Vlad? Does that seem like a reasonable summary of where we're at?
I think we see Vlad with an unfinished Siggy, and he's already like unscrewing something in the helicopter, and then just like looks at the others. Should I like kill that chopper transponder so that they don't know where we are, or just leave it as it is?
Good question. Let's leave the question on the shelf because that might make the preparation scene. And finally, Unjung. Anything to add?
Sorry, I was doing that thing where the space bar wasn't working. So the wife has gone to that site, but is not there now. She is still in our protective custody. Is that correct?
Sorry, there's Ursula Kane / Lynn Cederblom, who is in your protective custody.
Right.
She's still being watched by one of your contacts somewhere away from Dubai City.
Okay.
There was a Mrs. Kane registered at the hotel with Torvald. My air quotes are appropriate here, and you found a youngish female dead in the suite.
Okay, I missed that. So okay, that works. Okay. I'm all set. I think that we've covered it then.
So, is there any investigative? Each of you can either set an investigative scene or a preparation scene before we cut to the operation and you skimming over the desert behind me. So I'll go back round. Jimmy, investigative scene, or do you want to hold for a preparation one?
I was just hoping if we could have a quick 5 seconds to do are we all on the same page before we start going into prep and investigation.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's. What do you think your objective is? Let's start with that question.
So, we've said it in the chat. I expressed it before. I'm kind of liking the idea of, a heavy mission, like an assault, basically. The only two options I see are we pretend to be, one of us is Torvald and the others are the Agrawelf, won't hold up for long, but gets us in the door. Or we go in heavy, we can work out the way then, but it's ultimately the same option. So does everyone feel strongly one way or the other?
Let me run down the character keeper and ask for people's responses to that. What about Lena when Jimmy is outlining these approaches?
I think, I can't just getting a lot of information inside, but I think impersonating Torvald and maybe Ursula, or Torvald and some sort of security person could work to at least get us in the door. But yeah, I think we've got to do a bit of run and gun here.
Okay.
What about Vlad?
I'm fine with any plan.
Okay. And finally, what about Unjung? She's our most deadly asset.
I think the idea of trying to disguise ourselves or get in under any other cover is ludicrous, given the situation and our past efforts with that. And I think we need to just drop the helicopter in the middle of the compound and go in, following up guns blazing.
Well, when I say we're disguising, I think it's the disguise along the case of they allow us to land and then we come out shooting.
Oh no, I think we drop the chopper. We shoot in a little bit outside. It's still night. We go quickly. We drop the helicopter in the middle of it and go in the chaos.
Oh, literally drop the helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I see. Right.
No pilot, autopilot on. Boom, go in.
I'm fine to do the extremely loud and extremely dangerous option. Any objections for anyone?
Plus, we know Lena can parachute already.
Gets to use the wingsuit twice.
Yeah. If she does it twice, we'll know she really can parachute.
We could get our man to drop a dune buggy off nearby, as suggested. We could get our German C-130 pilot to throw a dune buggy out the back on a cargo pallet. We could stop short, transfer the dune buggy, throw the helicopter under remote control at the base, and maybe assault by vehicle.
I like landing in the middle of it all, I think, because then we bypass the major defense, which is the fences and the towers.
So you're saying not shoot in, not drop this thing in the middle?
I'm saying go with your.
I think Unjun, correct me if I'm wrong, Unjun's saying use the helicopter as a bomb.
Drop out a little bit before the helicopter is going to hit. Yeah. I mean, I'm fine if we want to try and do the helicopter shooting out as we pass over. It's going to be nighttime. Kill the lights on the chopper, and then the chopper just comes crashing in. I think that would be a magnificent distraction on a level that we could not otherwise conceive.
Can I just say, I've just had a fantastic picture of, flicking the autopilot on with some kind of mechanical timer on it, as the four of you lower yourself by ropes from the bottom of the helicopter. And as it goes over the wire, you drop off and it just goes full up.
I think that's good. Fun.
Yeah, I like it. I'm proud to be part of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're not going to do any investigation in terms of any kind of layout, anything else.
I mean, who said we are not doing it?
Oh, sorry. I'm doing it. Sorry.
We do that on the way.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I've got other things to do, but we can do that on the way.
Okay. Well, let me go back around then. We've got a clear idea of the plan, which appears to cause us, just to be clear with me though, will success look like the complete destruction of Site B, or do you have a more subtle objective?
I don't think a helicopter crash is going to destroy Site B, given the size of it, but it will create a massive bonfire in the middle of it that will draw all attention that way.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. So again, let me try to pin you down. Success will look like what? Is this David, the site manager? Go on and drink.
Personally, for Jimmy, it's burning everything down.
Yeah, and we've got their bomb. We'll just return it.
But I think neutralizing the work at Site B seems to be our core goal,
Yes.
right? Like whatever they're doing here, it's not good,
Okay.
right? We can assume so.
So stop what they are doing, because you don't know what they're doing. But if you stop it, fine, that works.
Yeah, with like secondary, find out about the general from Donald, blah, blah, blah. But whatever they're doing in the desert, they already killed a man over this. They already killed several people over this. So, yeah.
Okay. So with that objective in mind, then, let me go round and start with Jimmy. Is there an investigative scene you want to frame? Or do you want to hold that back for some preparation on the journey?
I think that what I want to do is somebody else going to get guns? I can get guns, but if nobody else is going to get guns, I can get them.
I'm planning to get satellite images and analyze them so that we know what is where.
Okay, cool. I'll get guns then, to be honest.
Well, that sounds like a preparation scene, so I'll put that on the shelf till we.
Oh well, then in which case I will. How can I find out if there are any innocents there, like local workers or contractors or stuff like that? You know.
Okay. So, so you've already made contact with the Dubai underworld, haven't you? As part of the operation to get into the Burj Al Arab. So I think a discreet phone call to your contact there would be an investigation using larceny to ask me some questions about that and what they know about workforce and the like.
Oh yeah, because
this is probably all done through kind of gang bosses.
Yeah,
than, HR appointments.
Yeah, the Middle Eastern recruitment practices are not the best.
Well, you might say that. I couldn't possibly comment. Can everybody see the dice roller?
Yes.
It's in the lines and veils tab.
Okay, for once, I'm not going to include my stress die.
Oh, wow. What a change for Jimmy.
And that's why I only get a 3.
You see, it was just missing.
That's the bare minimum, which is all I needed.
The bare minimum. You were interested in innocence, weren't you?
Yeah. Non-aggro wealth people, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, so I can tell you that there is a kind of labourer workforce, field hands doing the hard work here around these crops. There are reckoned to be 20 of them, and they're entirely illegally employed. They are bussed in from Dubai. They spend about 2 months on site, and then they get a long weekend off before somebody's bussed back. So you could expect 20 innocents, if you want to describe them like that, innocent South Asian, Bangladeshi workers to be on the site. Is that okay?
Yeah, lets me know that I shouldn't blow the whole thing up.
Okay, enough said. Let's move along to Lena. An investigative scene, or do you want to hold fire for some preparation?
I think prep.
Okay. Just to remind you, the difference is that in an investigation scene, you will ask me questions or add some details. In a preparation scene, you get to set some fictional positioning. So you're holding on. Let's come to Vlad. You talked about transponders. I don't know whether that's whether you want to go ahead with that, Vlad. But do you want an investigative scene?
Transponders are not worth wasting good action. I think so. What do I need to do to be able to research what is what in the compound and what might be possibly going there?
I think research.
Can I get a hands on satellite imagery just by myself, or do I need to call someone?
No, I mean, I think you've got research skill. You should just be able to, tune in to the dark web or wherever else you want to look, and ask people what they know. And someone will have mapped all of the Dubai desert down to a 2-meter distance.
Yeah, it looks a little bit weird because Vlad always had this like old phone, and then he like takes out this like huge tablet, connects it to the phone by cable, and start browsing some like dark web with no like addresses, just like numbers, and then looking for images.
Yeah, I mean, what is Vlad's dark web pseudonym? What is he known as on the dark web?
Dracula.
Oh, of course he's known as Dracula. Yes. I have to say he's probably Dracula 4832, given the nature of the dark web.
Probably.
So let's have you roll to investigate. So you're using research expertise. You're very welcome to put the stress dice in there if you'd like it.
Yes, today I decided to roll everything with stress dice.
Oh, goodness me. So I mustn't forget that Jimmy and you have now failed. So I've marked heat twice. We just nudged into capture, folks. So I think that there is somebody. Now we know that Unjung has history with the conspiracy that we know about. We know that Jimmy has history with the conspiracy. And I think somewhere we cut to a conspiracy data hub where someone is just running routine CCTV analysis. And what they get a kind of really blurry picture of a woman in a subterranean clinic corridor, and then a similarly grainy image of someone on a rooftop in Dubai. And you can see the image matching going on, suggesting that they might have a lead. So I can tell you, what can I tell you? I can tell you that there are several buildings on this site. As I say, it's about 100 meters square. There's a very big H in the middle where the helicopter lands. Most of the buildings, I think there are a couple of two-story buildings. And based on the satellite pictures that you managed to source, Vlad, I think I can tell you that they look like barracks. They look like they're dormitories. Which one is which? I don't think you can tell for at this point. You can see that there are clearly a couple of buildings which have, they're probably not as well built. That's probably where the workers are staying, in those dormitories. So maybe, yeah, I'll give you that. I think you can spot the dormitories where the workers probably are. Other dormitories for AgriWorld people on site, or probably rooms, difficult to say. A couple of smaller buildings which you are pegging as probably research labs or, analysis locations where these crops are being analyzed or worked on. And there is a single larger building which, given the angle of the satellite, I think has a very big kind of roller door. So it's probably either some kind of large garage or barn where they store machinery. Okay, so I think what you've got is those basic bits of the picture, and you have a map, so you'll be able to identify once you get on the ground which is which, assuming there's a bit of light left. The light of a burning helicopter. Does that seem fair?
So to summarize, two good barracks, one bad barracks for the workers,
yeah,
a couple of small laboratories, and the big buildings probably a storage for machinery. Or
maybe they've got some kind of internal growing going on in there. It's difficult to tell, but
sure.
Certainly it's got a very big door on the front.
Sure. A question: how does the stress die works? If it rolls the highest, then stress goes up.
If it's equal to or higher than, then stress automatically goes up. If you roll for stress, it has to be higher to go up. So you're okay.
So if I roll with stress die, it has to be one of the highest dice, and then stress just goes up.
Yeah. If it's in the dice pool and it's equal to or higher, up it goes. Okay. Fine. So far it's all good for me. I'm just generating heat. That's all good for me to spend. What about Unjung? Investigate now or preparation in a moment?
I need to go to confession. That is what I would like to do if I can spend my action going to talk to a priest.
I don't have a problem with that. While everyone else is throwing stuff into bags to ferry back to the Beckham's yacht, we flash back to Unjung. Where the fuck is Unjung, says Jimmy. And we cut to Unjung in a Catholic church.
small, like one they have just, for Westerners here going in to the confession and the forgive me, Father, I have sinned.
Because there's, you never close is the gist of the Catholic Church. So this is a secretly from the horror by looking for guidance is what I'm
Yes, it is
sensing here. Yeah. So stress automatically goes down by 1. If you seek the advice of a mentor, confidant, or someone else you trust, such as a priest, roll d6 and see what the problem is.
All right. I'm going to roll this red die in the middle.
The bright red dice. A 5, 4 plus, mark heat and agree with control. How they or what they say to you complicates the operation. What do they say to you that is going to make this more complex? Apart from the fact that I've marked both the capture boxes in the heat track.
Oh, man. I think they say something like, you've taken so many lives, you need to save some lives.
Okay.
And kind of put that onus on me in not so many words. I mean, they say don't kill other people. They say that, but that kind of can't register, but it's I've got to make an effort to actually do something proactive on this.
Now, as it says, you cannot go back to them, i.e. you cannot go back to confession to seek relief from the horror until you demonstrate that their faith in you is justified by fulfilling that injunction. So you could get away this time without fulfilling it, but you won't be able to use a priest again until you do. Is that okay?
That's okay. I'm also going to spend one of my intel to take my stress down another 1.
Okay. Now I noticed also, Unjung, that you at the moment you cannot use your expertise.
I had spent an intel last time to clear that.
Fine. Great. I was surprised that we left it like that at the end of last time.
Yeah, no, I did that. I spent it right away, okay. And then I made sure I had that marked this time. That's why I'm down to 1 intel.
Okay. So before I go to preparation scenes for the rest of you that haven't yet had investigative, I will ask if you want to spend some intel to define an obstacle that you will look cool overcoming. What about Jimmy? That single intel.
That single intel, which if Gothboy shows up, can be used to do a deterrent.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment, you only have a compulsion on Gothboy.
You know what? I'm reliably assured I'm going to have some cool gunfights in this.
So you won't spend. Okay. What about Lena? Is there something Lena wants to look cool overcoming? For the simple cost of 1 intel.
Yeah, let's have a tank.
Can I make that an armored vehicle? Because with the best will in the world, the Emirati government may notice the arrival of a main battle tank in country, whereas an armored vehicle is now the summit.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah. So I've got to overcome a tank.
Well, you tell me you want a tank, but what it says is, what do you want to be seen doing that would be cool? Describe an obstacle that would frame that.
Yeah, let's have an armored vehicle.
And what do you want to be seen doing then?
Mowing down people.
So how does the armored personnel carrier come into that scene?
It's got a large gun on it.
Okay, so you want to confront a well-armed armored personnel carrier stroke armored vehicle. Yeah?
Yeah.
Have I got that right? If I haven't, tell me now.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I'm envisaging a call and a contact to get something that might do some harm to it. Okay, moving along. Let's go to Vlad. Do you want to spend? Okay, you got quite a lot of intel there. Do you
So
want to
I'm
spend
trying
some intel?
to understand a couple of things.
Uh-huh.
First of all, Lowell, I think you can still do investigation and secret leave from horror because you like secret leave from horror.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
I think
I
you can
assumed that I
investigation.
was going to come back to Eunjung for preparation scene.
Sure. I would like to secret leave from horror as well, and I'm completely lost in what just happened. So Paul wanted to drive a tank and kill some dudes, but instead he will have to like confront the tank.
Right.
I'm like lost.
Okay. So the way it's phrased is there something you want to be seen doing that will make you look cool? And therefore, what does the obstacle look like? Now, if Lena can take out the crew, she can do whatever she likes with this armored personnel carrier. But it's not an obstacle to say, I want to drive a tank. Do you see where I'm coming from in terms of the difference? So she will need to confront it. That's the obstacle. And then what she does with it after that's up to her. Is that any clearer?
The easiest way I think of this is in Mission Impossible, they spent their intel to say, I want to repel from a ceiling and dodge laser beams. You know, I want what cool spy thing do you want to be seen doing, and what's the challenge that you'll have to overcome?
I mean, typically you would choose something that your expertise might apply to, because then you'd have a good chance of successfully overcoming it.
But mechanically, it doesn't do anything, does it?
It does. Having that obstacle means that I have one less complication to throw at you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, does that help, Pavel?
So yes, let's spend this intel and add one obstacle preparation, and they will look cool overcoming it. There is how it is called over here in the GM obstacles, super body, super bad.
You want to select a you want a super bad. You want to confront a super bad.
I mean, I'm sick of Rook just telling how he exploded one and they went to pieces. I have the stuff. I want to use it.
Okay. Confront a super bad. Okay, so a dangerous supernatural some way above the paramilitary contractors who are probably guarding this site. Okay, I can work with that.
Can I seek relief as well?
You can. Can I just check first with Eunjung whether Eunjung is interested in describing an obstacle?
Yes, I am.
What would you like to face?
I would like to spend my last intel. I would like a John Woo style duel with another gunslinger on the ground, running on the ground, using up bullets, you know, sniper, poot, 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 doves fly, all that jazz, you know, close up and then far away and rolling around on the ground and that kind of thing.
A running duel with a, inverted commas, gunslinger. So some kind of somebody with the same kind of expertise you have.
Yes.
Exactly so. Okay. Yeah, no, I think I can accommodate that. Yes. So Vlad, you wanted to seek relief from the horror.
Yes. Yes. Last time I had some cool backstory with Eunjung. Lena. So what I'm looking for is reveal some of your backstory already together.
Yeah.
And I think as we are maybe like flying the chopper to land somewhere and go to our safe house, I will wait. I'm looking at
look,
stuff.
before you do anything else, reduce stress by 1, because that's going to happen.
Time it went sour at confirming friendship. The first time you encountered the supernatural together. Yeah, let's say that that the two of us were together dealing with some supernatural guy somewhere in the Nordic countries, so probably somewhere in Norway or maybe even in Finland, who was basically feeding off civilians. And I think we cornered them in the sewers, let's say. And Vlad is recalling, oh, you remember this fight in the sewers? I wonder if there will be sewers in this like base in the desert. Maybe they have some underground passages and we'll go like then, and you from one side, me from other side.
Fine. So you've reduced stress by 1. Roll the stress dice, or any d6 for that matter, and let's see how this conversation goes.
I'll also roll the middle stress die. It's a fat 1.
1 to 3. Say why you feel bad about the event you're remembering. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, or choose to add something about your anchor to your recollection and mark them as either a target or missing. So do you want the consequence on you now, or do you want to put Svetlana, your sister, in the crosshairs? There's no good choice.
Yeah, sure. I want to still be able to use my expertise because that's fun.
So how does Svetlana play into this anecdote, this recollection?
I think we see as Svetlana came by to visit Vlad in Finland. Maybe the two of us were like having like a family meeting over there, and she was snatched by this creature to be killed in the underground, and we went to rescue her. Actually,
spot on. Mark Svetlana as a target. Yeah, and yes. And what we do, we insert a brief cutscene that shows Svetlana maybe trudging through a northern snowy scene on the way to her flat, being trailed by a car with its lights out. And actually, because I'm not really interested in sending a stat squad after you, I'm going to unmark one of the captures and spend heat for a friend of Svetlana's to send you a message. And the message says, Svetlana told me I should only use this number if she went missing or something happened. She hasn't come home tonight. So I've spent that heat to turn Svetlana from just a target to now she is missing. That doesn't mean they've taken her. It's just her friend is worried about her, Vlad. Okay?
And it costed you like 1 heat?
Yep. And so I've taken 1 heat down. That means now I don't have to run a stat squad after you. Although I might, I could spend another heat and have her taken off the street.
We'll feel distracted today anyway, so don't worry.
Okay. So that leaves me, I think, with a couple of preparation scenes. I think I'm losing track of who they are. So let's start with Unjung.
I want to get the like rappel slash shoot stuff together.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you want to use this preparation as a call on a contact, or do you want to do that when you're, dropping off the helicopter to get that equipment, or is there something you want to do that gives you some fictional positioning? Because you can get the equipment by calling on a contact.
Do we not already have the equipment, in fact, due to our safe house feature?
You have tech toys and explosives.
That's right.
So it sounds more like tech toys than anything to me.
Well, I suppose it depends if you want automatic weapons or stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess my prep scene will be getting like the heavy weapons for myself.
Fine. So let's have you pay a point of stress to call on a fixer contact. Have we got a fixer on the table yet? I'm not sure we have we? Who probably meets you as you come out of the church, having promised to save people and being told not to kill people, and a man appears with a bag of very heavy looking things. So spend the stress, select a fixer, And just make a note then that you have access to heavy weapons. Okay.
Okay.
That's all good. So that's your prep scene. Who do I owe a prep scene to? Lena, I think, isn't it? Yeah. What prep do you want to see before boots are on the ground?
I think I would like to get a disguise as a as some sort of like UAE general, some sort of, tons of braid, the full works.
Okay, the blonde woman in the United Arab Emirates general's uniform. That's quite a tough one to pull off for disguise, Lena. I'll tell you now. Are you? Because you're going to drop off the bottom of a helicopter. Is I thought what we was pitching here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You've got a plan. You've got a plan, clearly. Okay. Then I think it's calling a contact to have access to that kind of kit, isn't it? And then you will have temporary access to disguise expertise.
I can't work out what kind of contact it is.
A fixer is a good general one. It says something like they can provide.
They can provide stuff.
Yeah.
There we go.
And name them at your convenience. And make a note that you will have the materials available to temporarily have expertise as an Arab general.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that we're talking about the full Arab headdress, drawn across your face, so the blonde hair and female features are not obvious.
I was thinking more like a decent sort of disguise kit.
Okay. Fine.
So like a false face.
I
can put my hair in a bun under a classic general tat.
That's fine. Yeah. We'll worry how good that is once you get to confront somebody or come up to somebody who says, "Who are you?" So the helicopter skims over the desert behind me.
Okay, while we're going in, I'd like to reduce some stress.
Okay, what have you got? Who are you going to bully this time?
I'm going to threaten to throw Jimmy out of the helicopter just for shits and giggles. No, not really. I'm going to pass round a bottle of very strong booze that we stole off the Beckham's yacht.
Love it. Okay, so you are going to indulge your vice. You're going to get drunk, yeah?
Yep.
So reduce stress by 1 and roll a d6 so we get some idea of what the consequences are.
Okay, rolling the green dice. 5.
Oh, Mark, heat. Oh, thank you for giving me that heat back. I can't resist not taking Svetlana in return for that heat. So you get another message, because clearly these messages have been stacking up while you've been busy, Vlad. And now you have a message that says, she's not come home. She hasn't been seen at work. Nobody knows where she is. You have to assume the conspiracy has her, Vlad. Okay? Let's...
I would like to burn some stress as well.
Oh, would you? Okay.
Yes.
Well, hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Let me, because that was just give me some heat. Make and agree with control. What do you do, Lena? How does this manifest? This getting drunk on a helicopter that you don't actually have a pilot for?
I think I accidentally switched the radio to not internal. I think I switch it to external and start broadcasting, just tons of shit.
Okay, and I think the heat then is reflected in which says, hello, come in.
And basically you hear me singing, causing a scene.
And over the loudspeaker in the helicopter comes, Michaeli, are you coming? What is that noise? And I think Unjung, you suddenly realise that you're broadcasting, and they are talking to you back over the loudspeaker. I'm guessing, Unjung, you hit the switch that says off. Okay, that's good. That justifies the heat. Thank you for that. Sorry, Jimmy. What did you say?
I'd like to, think back upon how I first met Youngjun. I think it was after I'd been cut loose by Henry, and my old mate Harrison Blake said he could put me in touch with someone with mutual interests. And I think it was, a very serious and tense meeting in a British pub over a pint and some pork crackling.
Reduce stress by 1, and let's see how that conversation plays out.
Yeah. Oh, I need to reconnect to the room. I got a 3. So
okay, say why you, Jimmy, feel bad about the event you're remembering. You can't use your expertise until stress goes up again, or choose to add something about your anchor to your recollection and mark them.
Yeah, I'll mark my anchor. I'll mark Daria, and I think
so
it was.
How does Daria come into this recollection stroke anecdote?
After being cut loose, I'd spent my time in Turkey with Daria, and she was trying to convince me that it was time to leave this, that I'd done as much as I could and I could leave it with the professionals now. And then that's when, my old friend Blake got in touch and told me this mad story about how he'd been running with these guys and killed something inhuman. And I just got pulled. I didn't get pulled. I jumped right back into it. And that's when I met Unjung, fresh from an argument with her.
Fine. So Daria Kaya, that Turkish archaeologist, is now also a target. Oh, how very tempting. She's much closer than the north than Svetlana. I think
I like the idea that maybe we were in Istanbul and we met up, and the camera cuts back and we maybe see Daria has maybe followed you and sees you meeting with this woman and talking very intently there.
Yeah, a woman who has a very similar look in her eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think, again, because I've got no particular interest at the moment in activating a snatch squad, I'm going to spend another heat for the news to reach you, Jimmy, that Daria is also missing. She was on a dig somewhere south of Istanbul, and is being, the members of this dig are being reported as not reporting in. Okay. Probably UNHCR or something, some UN cultural dig south of Istanbul, and there is stuff in the news about the dig leader Daria Kaya and her team being missing somewhere. It has to be somewhere near the Afghanistan border, doesn't it? Oh no, hang on, I got my geography right. Iraqi border. Too good to miss that one. Thank you for those heat points. Thank you. Look, it is 3 minutes to the hour. Does anyone want to do anything else before this helicopter comes in sight of Site B?
Can I just clarify? Has Lowell only got heavy weapons for Youngjung?
Yes.
Is there a way of me getting weaponry for us all?
Spend enough points on a fixer.
Well, if I spend a point on Beruz Asfani, the ex-Iranian Special Forces guy who used to run with Youngjun and Harrison. He's retired from the business now, but I'd like to have his weaponry. I mean, so I just want to clarify, would I need to do that to get us machine guns, body armor, that kind of thing?
No. So if you want automatic weapons, that would give you access to anything with assault rifles, compact submachine guns, that kind of stuff is auto. Okay. Heavy is grenades, sniper rifles, squad automatic weapons.
Okay. And if I was to call on, I would have to call on one or the other, basically. I can't get both.
Spending a stress is your call on a fixer to get equipment you want.
I want not for like a pool for the team. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I mean, I've got this heavy weapons thing. I definitely want some heavy weapons. I'm good at them.
I think we kind of failed as a team. We should have created a new safe house and just have it stuck full of heavy weapons.
Well,
Failed
now
at this game.
Well, no, explosives are part of the
well,
thing, aren't they?
just to be clear, you can spend intel to create a new safe house. So that new safe house could have a different set of equipment. It's, you know, the resources are mostly interchangeable. They all go round and round. If somebody
So
wants to spend some intel,
I could just spend an intel to have weaponry, heavy weapons.
you spend to create a new safe house with an additional cache of weapons, which would be your choice, heavy.
Yeah, but then would we lose the technical?
No, that's the new intel, new safe house. I don't take the current safe house off the map until the conspiracy hit it. And I haven't spent any heat to do that yet.
Okay, then I'll spend an intel to have.
Fine.
I have free intel. I can spend it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Unjung, given that kind of clarification, I think it's reasonable if you don't want to spend the stress for your personal bag of weapons, of heavy weapons, you know, just put that to status quo ante.
Sure.
And just tick, yeah, thank you. Somebody tick the heavy weapons. So, oh, what a bag of toys you have. So it is now exactly on the hour. Can I suggest we take a reasonably long first break and are back in our seats 10 past the hour? Okay, I'll see you then and pause the recording. Okay, back from our break, and we see the helicopter spinning through the Arabian night over the desert behind me. And as it comes up low over a dune, we'll see the compound with lit from the towers on the four corners. The light is into the compound rather than over the fields outside. Unjung, you are currently piloting. What do we see?
We see me setting the autopilot and getting the last of the gear and lines checked, and kind of doing that quiet countdown to when we're going to drop, and then let this helicopter drop.
Okay, and what I'm imagining then is, you know, one on either side. We've got Lena and Jimmy and Vlad, with a space next to Vlad for you to take that line, Unjung. And shortly we will see all of you lowering yourself on this line, so you are hanging below this helicopter as we see a little kind of counter ticking down on the autopilot to the point where the fuel will cut out and the rotors will stop and it will simply, yeah, is that what I'm seeing? Okay. And you've set the height, I'm guessing, Unjung. So, you know, with that 20-foot rope of that line hanging off the bottom, you are in a position to clear the wire. The objective is for all four of you to clear the wire. Am I right? Okay. So let's see how that goes, shall we? So let's start. I think, Unjung, this is your plan. So I think we start with a close-up on you as the helicopter's approaching, and I guess that over the radio you'll hear, Michaeli, you seem to be coming in fast. You okay? And Unjung, you cross the wire, and as the helicopter begins to kind of poof into the ground, let's have you roll to do something else. I can't think of anything else that works here. To hit the ground, rolling and running. Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, I have some tradecraft. I have some base skills. I'm just doing a jump and run.
Yeah, I'm going to give you expertise on this because it's too cool not to. You're all going to get expertise to get across into this compound. So you're rolling with expertise, stress dice if you'd like it.
Let's do the stress dice. So the middle 3 dice.
Yeah. Oh, now, what that means is you succeed at a cost, You fail or succeeded across. I'm going to mark heat. My goodness me, it's my day for heat. I can see Deria suddenly being taken as well. It's all going pear-shaped. I think the cost I will offer you, Unjung, is that I think the cost is that your equipment bag drops separately from you. You will need to find it if you want to declare anything other than maybe light equipment that would, be at your belt and ankle. Does that seem?
That seems fair for that role.
Okay.
I deserve the punishment I get.
So we see Unjung rolling, but then, the rucksack or whatever the gear is being carried in, just, spirals away into the darkness. Life's a bitch. Next, I think, Lena, I think your military fieldcraft would apply here. So you're rolling with expertise. Let's see what you do. Stress dice if you want it, remember?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, 5. That goes perfectly.
Stress is the same as the highest dice.
It is.
So it goes up.
Stress is going to go up, but you're on your feet with your equipment, just jogging to a standstill as you let go of the rope and the helicopter just heads another 50 yards. Okay? Fine. Who's next? Vlad. Let's see you roll with expertise, because I'm twisting the rules. It's too cool not to have you all have a chance to drop off this. With stress or without it?
Like I said, everything with stress today.
Oh, well, stress goes up again, but that goes well. That goes well. You land, all your equipment's with you. It's not quite a 3-point superhero landing. That would take a 6, but it's a competent landing. And finally, Jimmy, let's see you roll to just drop off this rope. What could go wrong?
I actually have expertise in it because I have expertise in intrusion. So
you do, and dropping off ropes is everything about you. So
I will spend the stress as well. But that is a 6 on the normal dice.
Okay, well, what extra benefit do you want to have, Jimmy? Do you want me to tell you something? Do you want
to? I want to land in a place where I can give people cover. So perhaps I land in if there's like a tower or a rooftop or something, like I land on top of there.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm very happy for you to be. Do you want to be on top of a single story or a double story, 2-story building?
I mean, if there is a 2-story, I think a 2-story is a cooler one to be on top of, right?
Okay, it just might be more difficult to get off the top of.
Oh well, yeah, but cooler to get the top off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jimmy lands on the top of there, and we just see him go flat. Maybe it's a pitched roof, and we just see him roll and go flat just behind the pitch, covering the compound. And then the helicopter hits the ground, and there is a fireball. Unjung, you're looking around for what happened to that equipment bag. Let's go to Vlad. Vlad, you landed. As I think I've said, there's a 2-story barrack building, which is probably where Jimmy is. There's a single-story, less solid structure, which is where you think the workers who were bussed in are located. There's a couple of smaller buildings connected, which you've pitched as labs, and there's this large barn, 2-story high, probably 20 yards square, where you think they store vehicles.
Yeah, labs are my secondary priority. I'm really curious to see what's in this big one.
So you're heading towards that. And as Unjung had suggested, all attention is on the explosion. You've all landed in decent positions. None of you have crashed and burned in the sense of being out there in the open. So yeah, we see Vlad making his way through the shadows between these buildings to get close to the barn. Okay. Lena, let's come to you. What do we see Lena doing when she lands?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Vlad and go towards this large building.
Okay, so the pair of you making your way through the shadows, flitting through the shadows, as there are shouts and calls, and people are beginning to come out of buildings. There is just the kind of chaos you were hoping for, Unjung. Unjung, what do we see you doing?
Desperately hunting for my equipment.
Okay, that's your first priority. Let's have you roll to investigate then. I think I'll give you tradecraft and deadly. I think you should be good at finding something. You know where it went. You just need to head in that direction.
So tradecraft and deadly would be 3 dice.
Sorry, no. So you've got the expertise dice. You can include
Okay.
the stress die if you really want it.
Oh, well, let's go for it here. F you, John Grimm. Right there.
I have to say, it seems to me that priest really has, is really making life difficult for you. The All Father up there is not being kind to you, so you can't find it. It's in that direction. Yeah, so I'm assuming you head in that direction, and because it would be more interesting, I'm inclined to say it's away from the barn.
Oh man, yeah. So now I've got to find some people to kill and get their weapons from them. Okay.
Oh well, now there are plenty of those.
Yeah, we'll work on that in a second. I'm desperately trying to find the equipment bag, and when I can't, I'm like,
"Forgive me, Father, for I'm about to sin."
We're about to sin.
Okay, there are plenty of potential targets, Unjung, because there are guys in AgroWealth branded camo gear, spilling out of the barracks, pulling on, their equipment. I think I can tell Vlad and Lena that there are a couple of guys who you would expect to have run towards the helicopter to see if they can any survivors, but they clearly have instructions to stay on the barn. Yeah, or the garage, whatever we're going to call it, the big building. Jimmy, you're in a good position to see what's going on. What do you want to do?
Radio into the others. Clear out the big one, and then let's go on for the labs, and then we can blow this place. If keep an eye out for anything heavier that we might use to take it completely to pieces. And I think I've landed in Overwatch, right? And I'm scanning around looking for where the bloody hell Yunjung's gone. Yunjung, you in position? Yunjung.
No.
What the fuck, love?
Out of gear. I'm getting some guns right now. You start killing some people. I'll be with you in a moment.
I'm just wondering whether I want to see. No, I'm not going to be awful and seek relief from the horror. I'm only at 2.
Well, Jimmy, I'm curious whether, given that you have access to heavy weapons, do we see you, revealing the sniper rifle?
The heavy machine gun.
Oh, squad automatic weapon.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Declare away and mark the gear slots that will take. It's 3, I think.
It is, yes. But I think that's what we see. I'm having that conversation as I screw it together, the pieces, right, and clear the breach. And I'm just sitting, waiting for something to go wrong, them to be found. I'm in Overwatch, basically.
Well, I can tell you now that the guys who are guarding that barn they're not rushing. You could see people who are getting emergency equipment. There are guys running out of the barracks with fire extinguishers. What effect they're going to have on a burning helicopter, I'm not certain, but they're doing their best.
I'm here for reinforcements, basically.
Okay. Unjung, out of the darkness comes a guy. He's clearly come down from one of the towers. He's heading towards the helicopter. What do you do? You are muted.
Do I have small arms in hand at this point?
Yes. Anything in the way of kind of personal equipment like that, I let you have.
Then I'm jogging up to put a bullet in somebody's head, and essentially I'm going to start like a little crossword, like tic-tac-toe of people moving from person to person, putting bullets in people's Bodies.
Okay. So declare handgun and mark one of your gear slots as having that. And when this guy goes down, you will have access to the assault rifle he's carrying if you wanted it. Why do you need to worry about a safe house with automatic weapons? The conspiracy always have some.
They always have some.
So that's great. Declare the handgun, and let's have you confront the conspiracy in the form of this goon and maybe the guy behind him. You're rolling with expertise. You also get to roll the bonus dice down there at the bottom, that one that's currently showing a 4 underneath the 1. And you could include the stress dice in order to have that one as well. All I require you to do is also mark the very top risk dice, just in case.
What does that mean? Wait.
Right. So in the middle, you've got the gray dice, which is the one you always roll. Yeah.
Okay.
If you go up, there's the orange expertise dice,
Okay.
which you have. Because you have deadly expertise, you also get to roll the one at the bottom, which is the 4, which is beneath
Okay.
the gray dice. Yeah.
All
You
right.
can include the green stress dice if you like. Because there's the outside possibility that this guy might spot you, you need to roll the top right, that very top right pink dice, which is
The
the
pink
top,
die.
which is
Okay.
which is the first of the risk dice.
All right. Well, I'm going to roll all of these dice
You are.
you've told me to roll.
Okay, so you got a 4, they got a 4. Yeah.
Yes.
Your 4 means you take him down.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the risk dice is equal to or greater than your best roll, you also are at risk of harmful consequence.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to make you roll for a dice for this, even though you are going to add 3 to it, because this is a goon.
All right.
Because if you roll a 6, it could have beneficial outcomes for you.
All right. Well, I'm going to roll this gray die in the middle.
Okay. 3 and 3 is 6. It's not a natural 6. So a 6, it hurts a bit, but he just winged you. Goons are going to need to get very lucky to do you any harm. So yeah, do we see you pick up his assault rifle?
Yes. And then I will start my this is where my job starts.
Okay, so just make sure you've marked on your equipment that you've got a handgun, and now you've picked up an assault rifle, which will take up another 2 gear slots. Yeah, so you've got 2
Okay.
gear slots left after you've got this equipment.
If we
Well,
get
unless you throw the handgun away.
so if we drop equipment, can we produce more equipment?
Only if you pick it up from the enemy.
So if she picks up 2 gear slots, does she lose her own two gear slots?
Yeah, because she can only carry a certain amount of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And anyway, most of Unjung's gear slots are
Yeah.
scattered across the
This is all
site.
scavenging. This is all scavenging for the rest of this time. Okay.
So Unjung is going about her business. And I think Unjung, at this point, you glance over towards the barn because Lena and Vlad have said we're heading to the barn or something similar, just to see if you can provide some cover in that direction. And you see someone emerging, because as well as this big door on the front of this big roller door on the front of this building, there's also a small kind of personnel exit access. And out of it comes this woman. You know her to be Mary Ndube, who is a cold-hearted killer and happens to be Agrawell's local head of security. Okay? There's your gunslinger. I'll
There
come
we
back
go.
to you in a moment in terms of what you want to do about your gunslinger. Lena, let's go to you. You've gone with Vlad towards the barn. You can see Mary and Dubé at this door, and you can see that the 2 guys who are guarding the front of this barn are she's telling them, stay put, do not move. Okay? What do you want to do, Lena?
I think wait for her to wander off.
Okay. And I think she will, because she needs to be out there for Unjung to bump into. Vlad, so the pair of you are waiting. Jimmy, you're seeing all of this going on,
Well-
or it's being filled in on the comms?
Well, I think the second, Unjung starts firing, right? Like situation starts to change, right? And that's when this woman comes out and it's all starting to end. I am going to train the heavy machine gun on the squad, the group of guards that look to be organizing, like whichever one is going to make the first tactical response to this. And I'm going to just start pinning them down.
Well, look, in terms of who's responding, actually, the ones that are a threat are the two guys guarding the front of the barn, where Lena and Vlad are going. Because everybody else, it looks like she's going out into the compound to try and organize the others because they are chaotically trying to put out the fire.
Well, do you want me to open the door for you, Lena? All right. Yep. So
let's have you confront the conspiracy and its pawns with heavy weapons expertise and with a heavy weapon, so you get the bonus dice as well.
Nice.
Stress dice if you want it. They don't know you're there, so there is no risk to you at this point.
Okay.
So no risk dice.
Sorry, I always have to reconnect to this room for some reason. I'll include distress dice.
I mean, 4 dice. Come on.
That's a 5 on the failure, though.
5. No. Oh, no. You're not rolling the risk dice. They don't even know you're there.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. Well, good.
No,
Good.
this is
Good.
just
So
out of the
a 4.
blue.
Yes. Yes.
One of them goes down in a heap. You have an automatic weapon, so I'm prepared to have you take 2 of them down for that success. So as Lena and Vlad are just observing Mary and Dubé going out into the compound to try and organize this fucking chaos, and both the guys on the front of the barn go down in a heap. What do you do, Vlad?
And if there was a lock on the door, boom, off as well.
I think that's a slightly different question, but we
Okay.
know that she came out through the personnel exit. Yeah. So Vlad, what do you do?
Do we see how are the main big doors closed? Is there like a palm reader, a code lock, or
My
what?
guess that they are run from they're roller doors. So my guess is there's a big lever inside that will just set
Inside.
the kind of man-sized entry beside it. You know that she came out of there. I don't think there's any evidence that that's locked tight.
Yeah, so probably after the head of security wanders off, Vlad goes to the exit to the door she just exited from.
Fine. Lena, do you follow or?
Yeah, and takes a peek inside.
Okay, so inside there is.
Let's do it more proactive. I just open the door and step inside and just yeah.
Okay, and you will see parked inside a light armored vehicle. And I think you will also see a couple of tractors. But to be honest, lad, what's interesting is that no one's guarding the light armored vehicle. There are 3 guys on a door at the back of the barn. Do you want to do anything? Do you want to have a proper investigate, or do you want to do something else? That's first glance.
So you said that this does it look? Yeah, let's. My God, we divided the spotlight, so this is the Lena's place. Yeah.
You get in the tank, Vlad.
What?
Get in the tank. Start mowing them down.
Sure.
Lena, I'll if Vlad heads towards the tank, as I say, I've given you the kind of layout of this space. What are you going to do?
I'm going to keep an eye on these 3 guys at the back, and once he started it, I'm prepared to open the doors. I don't really want to open them until it's active.
Okay, so Vlad is heading, trying to find his way into this armored vehicle. I'm sure The Russian ones that you trained on, they can't be any different, can they? Unjung, are you heading towards Marion Dubé, or are you trying to avoid her?
No, I think it's the calm walk across the open field with the gun race, and just start taking the pops and shots to make it clear that her attention needs to be on me and not on anything else.
Fine. And just for dramatic intent, because who wants to keep track of all these goons? She's talking to one, and you just and drop him. And she looks, and I've got this picture of, we look over her shoulder, there's the helicopter, there's flames, and then the flames clear for a moment, and your eyes meet. What do you then do?
That's the point at which I start running, swap into the two handguns. I'm running sideways, and I'm just putting bullets over in her general vicinity at that point.
Okay. Now, the way that named NPCs work is that if they have a similar expertise to you, they in effect cancel your expertise. Right. So you are rolling to confront the conspiracy and its pawns. You are currently only rolling with the middle dice. Neither your small arms nor deadly, because she has both of those. That's what a gunslinger is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're rolling the middle dice, the stress dice if you want it.
Yep.
Yeah, but you are also rolling the top risk dice. So it's your gray dice versus her pink dice, really, as to how this goes.
Okay, so green, gray, and pink.
Yeah.
It's like we're back in the 70s.
Oh,
well, look at that.
Well, that's a success. It's a success on the stress dice. Your stress automatically goes up by 1.
Yes.
But you inflict some stress on Mary. And you see, what does that look like? Because this isn't necessarily just, bullets in.
Yeah,
flesh.
I think there's the thing where the camera tilts, where we're both doing that run sideways, drop behind barrels, rolling out from behind them, popping up, and like we're shooting things, and things are hitting and spraying, and then there's the one shot hits her in the shoulder.
Hits her in the shoulder pad, I think you'll find.
Yeah.
Which is enough to inflict stress on her.
And then we're kind of now, but we're also doing that thing where as we're moving, we're getting closer and closer.
And Mary is yelling at you, yelling at you as you're kind of almost dancing round the flames from the helicopter or some part of the helicopter. She's saying, you always needed a bigger gun, Unjung. Let's cut to Jimmy on the roof. Jimmy on the roof?
Well, do I see, are the other guards completely in disarray, or
they are? And now that Mary is otherwise occupied, the amount of order she can bring to these, they're doing their best. They think their guys are in that helicopter.
Perfect. Well then, I leave it to Young Jung to deal with the forces. She seems to have it all well in hand, and I'm going to try and make my way across the labs.
Okay.
In the chaos.
Okay.
I'm going to mark burglary kits, because I think that has got my the rope that I use to just raffle down the side of the building and try and get across to the labs.
I mean, you showed Vlad, it even has some of those suction cups you can use to climb up skyscrapers. So yeah, mark the burglary kit, which you always have access to because you have intrusion, and let's have you roll to do something else just in case it gets interesting.
Okay, I imagine that will be with intrusion.
It will. Stress dice if you want it.
Of course. That is a 6 on the stress dice, so my stress goes up.
Stress goes up, but mark intel.
Mm-hmm.
And what does this brilliant success look like? Where do you want to be? Like a black cat in the dark.
Straight into the lab.
Okay, I will let you. Somebody comes out of the labs, and the door swings open, and Jimmy just slides in.
Yeah? Exactly. Yeah.
And it's a bit of a shock because it's brightly lit in here. And do you want there to be somebody here, or would you prefer it to be empty for that brilliant success?
I mean, if David Donald's here, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
I know where Donald is, and he's not
Okay.
here.
You know what? It's always more interesting for there to be someone there. So there's definitely someone there.
And there's, the other research assistant who's working late. Kind of, it looks up from the lab. I mean, are you dressed in the full, black cat?
Yeah, pretty much with a big machine gun, like sort of like one
Braced at
arm
the
like
hip.
slung and yeah. And I think as they look up, I'm just like, "You right?"
He puts his hands up. No
Yeah.
question, hands are up.
Yeah, and then I'm happy to cut across to somebody else.
Fine.
And
Vlad, you're approaching this vehicle, yeah? And
Yeah,
clambering
quietly.
up the side, I guess, to get into the driving bit. Is that the plan? Or are you going to go straight in the turret for the gun?
No, I was told to drive.
Okay.
So I'm just like, I need to like start to drive. We need to like, get out there and start unleashing the hell. So yeah.
Okay. As you're clambering up the side, the lid pops up and a guy gets out. It puts his head up. What do you do?
I guess this is the moment when I declare my because everyone is running with these huge guns and I'm left with like a handgun, and then just like put the handgun and just like bad day, buddy.
Okay, let's have you roll to confront the conspiracy and its pawns. So it's the grey dice. You've got small arms expertise, stress dice if you want it, but you're rolling the very top risk die just in case he gets lucky.
Yeah, of course, including the stress die.
Oh my! Well, will you look at that? So you don't hit him, but he shoots you.
Yeah.
Now, just to explain, you will find in the gear list a Kevlar stab vest or heavy-duty military protection. If you declare that now, you can cancel out that harmful consequence. As we discover, you put the Kevlar on underneath your gear. The choice is yours. Or we can go to the harmful consequence. He's only a goon. The chances of him doing any harm on you are tiny.
I have to, keep my boxes for the super bad.
For the bomb. I need to get the bomb. Okay. Then roll a d6 and we'll see how badly this goes. It's not going to go badly, honest. It's not, because you're going to add 3 to the roll.
4.
4 plus 3 is 7. So he wings you, but it's a bit painful. But there's no consequence. The chance of a goon actually doing any harm on you is infinitesimally small. But he's still there, and the first thing he does when he sees you shoot at him, it pings off the turret where he popped up from. He kind of goes back down inside. Lena, you see this happening, and I think the shots will have attracted the 2 guys on this door at the back. The door has a large friendly biohazard sign on it.
Okay. Well, I'm really more interested in the APC. So, yeah, I think I'm going to start shouting heavily in my general's outfit. Saying, you fools! This is the new tank commander. What have you done? You've shot him, you idiot! All of you, out now!
So there's an Emirati general berating the crew of this armored personnel carrier, while a man in kind of black operator's gear is clambering up the side. Okay, I'm prepared to give you a chance of persuasion. I think you've gone with
authority and persuasion, so I think I can look at
the whole shebang. You've got the disguise, you've got the skill set, you're rolling with expertise, stress die if you want it. No one's going to shoot you yet.
Okay, here we go. All 3 dice. Let's see what we get. Stress is lower than the others, so it doesn't go up, and I've got a 5.
So they are. I think that it's probably the fact they are confused, because these aren't Emirati troops; they work for AgriWealth. But there's this Arab general shouting at them. So I think probably what comes out of that is you get a pause, an opportunity to do something else while they just kind of look at this and think, You see the guys on the back door who hear this look at one another as to say, "What the fuck?" Unjung, let's see how you are doing with Mary as we continue to see you dance the dance of death.
Yeah, so once again, stress, middle die, and risk die up at the top.
Yeah.
I imagine that we've gotten to that close point of a gun fu where, you know, we're back to back, spinning around, guns are by heads, things like that, tossing guns in the air, grabbing them from each other, knives are in, all of that. Let's see here.
So you're without expertise.
Oh my God.
Now is the time you roll a whole series of 6s.
6, 6, 6.
Well, that sets the scene for the rest of the evening. So the 6 on the stress dice means your stress automatically goes up by 1.
Oh yeah.
You succeed brilliantly in your attack on her. So you are going to apply another 2 stress to her. I'll come back to that in a moment. But because she equal to or was greater than in terms of her attack on you when you get up close and personal, you're also going to have to roll for a harmful consequence. Because she is a contractor, she's a named NPC, there is no addition to this dice. You should want to roll high.
Okay, so I'm just going to roll that silver die in the center.
Okay.
That's a 5.
Okay, so on a 5, what it says is, on a 4+, you were lucky this time, it hurts, but you'll live. So what kind of blow does she get in on you?
I do imagine that it is that shot that we roll, and you know, the gunfire has fired off, and we come up and we're both bleeding from multiple flesh wounds on there, and there's that moment where we're both like the guns are at each other, and there's like click click click, and then we both go and roll to grab other guns off the ground before the next exchange.
And you get the gun first because you're about on a 6 to inflict 2 stress on her. Yeah? Where do you shoot her that puts her down?
Oh, I think that's just the strategic bullet shot to the forehead.
Fine.
That is cosmetic, you know, is movie style. So we just see the hole and
a look of surprise on her face. And I think she'll probably say, "You fucking bitch." Bang. Yeah. Let's go to Jimmy in the lab. Jimmy's off the roof. He's in the lab.
Yeah.
What's the play, Jimmy?
So young. I mean, who is this person?
He's a guy in a lab coat. He looks like he's just, you know, a lab assistant, or, you know, he's got a white coat on. Maybe he's a super scientist.
All right, mate. Where's the weird shit? Where's David?
He kind of forgets himself, and he points back out the door towards the barn.
David's in the, and I radio in. Donald's in the barn, and then I go. I rack the gun again, and I look at him and I go, right. And now for the weird shit. Where's the weird shit? What are you doing out here?
And okay, let's have you roll to investigate, to interrogate him in effect.
Yeah.
I think larceny would be appropriate. You frightened some people in your day, Jimmy.
Sure. Especially when I'm holding a heavy machine gun.
Well, that doesn't do any harm.
Yes, and I will include my stress dice. That is a 5 on my normal dice.
Okay, so the basic information is, I think the giveaway is his eye flicks to some filing cabinets and a computer in the corner of the lab. But you can ask me a specific question.
I suppose my specific question is, you know, are there any vampires here?
And he says, I don't know. They brought a box in yesterday from the airport.
Where's the box?
In the barn.
Oh, and then dun dun dun. And Jimmy will, you know, in between scenes, have grabbed that files and probably ripped the hard drive out of the computer, you know,
Okay,
as he sprints over to like, oh shit, you know.
And there's I will tell you now that there is a large file in the filing cabinet which is labeled, I have a name for it, Project Przyjaciel.
Okay.
It's obviously Russian.
Yes.
And so, yeah, we're going to assume you've grabbed some stuff up, which you might then spend intel on later.
Mhm.
I'm just reminding Lowell, you rolled a 6. So remember, you scored some intel out of that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Back in the barn, Lena, you've held their attention. Vlad, you have a free go. What do you want to do with your free go? Because all these goons are thinking, what?
I tried the hatch. Is it like locked from the?
Okay, so you're gonna open and what? Shoot somebody in there?
I'm going to open the hatch. I'm going to put the upper part of my body with the gun inside, upside down, and shoot the guy inside.
Okay, so let's have you roll to confront the conspiracy and its pawns. You're rolling the silver dice in the middle. You have expertise in small arms, stress dice if you want it. But of course, he knows you're out there. So I'm gonna. No, I tell you what. I'll give you the benefit of Lena's surprise. So he's not entirely certain that you are dangerous yet. So let's have you roll without the risk dice. So just your dice.
How much luck can this guy have? Oh, now he cannot have any luck. It's a 4.
And he looks up at you. And what do we see on your face when we cut back to your face?
The general is calling you from the other side of the grave. Pink.
Bang. The armored vehicle is now empty. Lena, you've had that information from Jimmy. Vlad has shot in there, which will probably break the spell on the other two.
It's silenced.
Oh, silenced. Yeah, fair enough. It's just, I have to say, you don't look like the new tank commander, is the bottom line. Lena, how do you want to play it now?
I'm going to climb up onto the tank, into the now. Switch to a bit of mechanical here.
Mm-hmm.
I have military. Well, that's only fieldcraft. Vlad actually has no tank skills, does he?
No.
No. Do I have more tank skills than Vlad?
Neither of you have vehicles expertise. There is an expertise for vehicles. You do not have it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get into the turret cupola.
Yeah.
And with my pistol, I will start shouting to Vlad towards the biohazard, pointing my pistol at the biohazard room. And hey, let's shoot through the glass, because glass just smashes when you shoot it.
So hang on, which glass are we talking about?
Didn't you say there was a glass partition between the biohazard area?
No, there's just the back of the barn has a single door. There's a biohazard sign in it. 2 guys were guarding it. And you hear Vlad kind of, there's...
Drive it through that wall. Let's go.
Sir, yes, sir. I have no idea how to say it in Russian, sorry.
Okay, so let's have you roll to control an armored personnel vehicle. With no expertise, stress dice if you want it. What could go wrong?
I mean, I love flashbacks. Is there some driver over here?
I think the fictional positioning for you to have up until now there was a driver waiting in the wings. I think that's a stretch too far. I'm very happy for you to invoke a driver later on to have a helicopter evac, but I don't think there's a way for you to get the fictional positioning you need to drive an APC. Because it's supposed to, remember, be an obstacle.
Sure. let's see how it goes.
Can't get the fucking thing started. What are you going to do, Lena?
Fine, I'll rotate the turret and start blasting 30 mil rounds at that wall.
At that wall. Fine. Jimmy, you've gathered up some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I grab the file, rip out the hard drive, and I point at the guy and I say, "You look at the wall." Yeah, I'm looking.
Yes, sir.
I'll
Yes,
know.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
turn
sir.
around, face the corner. Come on, lad. And then, right, don't move if you know what's good for you. And I'll just grab the stuff and I'll be running saying like, "There's a box in the barn. A box probably coming through in like crackles and stuff."
I think I'm going to make you mark another gear slot for that laptop and those files, those couple of files. Yeah.
Intel.
And I think, given it's 2 minutes to the hour, I'm inclined to say that as Jimmy runs from the lab and we see Lena kind of rotating the turret towards that back wall, Eunjung, what do we see you before we go to our break?
I imagine I've kind of fallen onto my knees and I'm catching my breath and realizing just how bad a shape I'm in, but I'm pulling myself up to go and get another gun.
There are plenty around now because, you've taken down several folks. I have no problem with you picking up another assault rifle on the jog.
And then I think there's that pause as I started to move and I take a few steps back. And we don't see it on screen. We just see me from like the upper thing where we just see me pointing down and we hear boop, 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 boop.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Okay. Shall we say 5 past the hour? Okay, I'll see you then. Start the recording. Okay, we're back from our final break, and we left it with Lena Carpi rotating the turret on an armored vehicle that Vlad cannot yet get started, rotating it round until that biohazard door, the door with the biohazard sign on it, comes into frame. And it looks, Lena, like this is a concrete wall with this door in it, okay? And I guess this barn must be, I don't know, it must be 30 meters by 40 meters. And based on the reconnaissance, there must be another 20 meters behind that wall, okay?
I think that's enough range for the gun.
Oh, yeah. So what is your objective here?
To shoot either a hole in the wall or the door down.
Okay. I think the door, you have the military expertise to be able to use that, to understand what you want to do. You may not have the heavy weapon skill to do it. So let's have you roll without expertise, stress dice if you want it. This is do something else. This isn't a confront, because I have to say those goons are going to go, are going to be taken apart by a couple of 30 mil rounds just in the vicinity. So go ahead.
So while I don't have the orange dice, do I have the weapon dice?
You have the bonus dice because this is a very heavy weapon.
Okay.
If only I had 2 dice to offer you.
Yeah. And I'll roll the stress dice.
Okay.
Give me, well, in fact, let me check the stress first.
You're currently on 3.
Oh, yeah, that's good enough. Yeah. So stress dice included. Stress dice is lower. And I've got a 6, so let's have a bit of intel as well.
Have some intel. And I think I'm going to have you blow that door and a section of wall away, yeah? For that 6, because then I can describe the vignette you see on the other side, yeah? You will see, a bit of the wall comes down as you take out the lintel on this door or something. So there's a decent space, and through the dust and debris, you can see people kind of getting up and looking back towards you. And there are several, it's odd. You can see through this what looks like a quite light duty wire frame cage, okay? Probably about 4 meters square. And in the middle of that cage, you see this individual. To all intents and purposes, an officer of the Afrika Korps. Outside the cage, you will see a worried-looking older man. Yeah. And oh yes, and finally, let me find him. A man turns to face you. Let me just find his picture. I knew I should have thought about this in advance. This man turns to face you.
Okay. Did we not see him before?
You've never seen him before, no.
I haven't seen him before, but
No, you
I think in
haven't.
the previous, no. Okay.
Well, you know, the audience, because they watched the previous series, recognize this as Brett Baxon. Last, you left him, I think, in a mock-up of a Transylvanian castle dungeon. So,
Yes.
with that in mind, so that's what you see. You see the guy in the Afrika Korps uniform inside this cage. You see these three guys. They are standing around a large box, which is about 6 or so feet wide, 3 or so feet wide, 2 or so feet high. You can see that there are a couple of technicians who are filming everything. And on the far side of the cage holding the member of the Afrika Korps, you can see another cage with a very frightened Bangladeshi man in it. Okay?
Yeah. What does my 6 do?
Your 6. Well, what do you want? Do you want to have hit somebody with that 30 mil round, or do you want to not have hit somebody with that 30 mil round? Or have you got something else in mind?
Yeah, I want that cage to be heavily damaged.
The cage with the Afrika Korps guy in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much so that he could easily step out.
Fair enough. So what I think we'll see is that there are, you know, it's been torn apart, that cage, the wall nearest you. Quite how it didn't kill him is an interesting question. But you can see there's little electrical arcs. Clearly that cage was carrying current. And there's a bit of panic in the room, I think. Okay. Let me cut from that to Vlad. Do you want to stick with trying to get this thing started, or do you want to do something else?
Of course I want to start it. There are a couple of people that we need to drive through.
Okay, you need to drive over somebody. Okay.
Yeah. So let's try this button and this handle now.
Okay.
Move forward.
Okay, so you're rolling without expertise. Stress dice if you want it. Oh,
Awesome.
wow. You have complete control of an armored personnel vehicle. Oh, sorry, Paul, I do need to come back to you. The fact that you've seen, you won't have known Bankson. I think that you will have seen the older man in the other room chanting and making some hand movements. Would you roll for stress before I forget?
As such, my stress goes up. Because
Okay.
I rolled a 6.
Okay. So Pavel, you rolled a 6, mark intel. What do you want as your bonus? What do you want your brilliance to be displayed as?
So our objective, just to refuse it, is stop whatever they are doing.
Yes.
I think the guy in the suits goes under the wheels. It's like forward.
So you're charging towards this gap, hoping you'll just either fit through the gap or go through the wall. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You are. The chances are you may well hit the cage before you hit the people. Okay. Okay. The reason I'm then going to make you roll for stress is that as you are driving towards it through the little kind of reinforced glass window you're using to steer by, you see what looks like a shadow or a dust, you're not certain, beginning to form out of that box that's open on the ground in front of the guy making the motions over it. Yeah, it is
Okay.
taking on a vaguely humanoid shape.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just need to be clear, who do you want to run down? Is it our old friend Brett Bankson, who I guess the audience is now thinking, I bet that fucker's going into the name David Donald? Is it the old bloke making the motions and chanting? Is it the guy in the Africa Corps uniform? Or is it whatever is beginning to manifest out of that box? What's your principal target?
I think, I mean, I was aiming for the guy in the suit, but this guy is doing some mambo jumbo. The vampires exist, maybe magic also exists. So the old guy, because you said that this something is manifesting behind him, so he's first on the first logical target to, move through.
Yeah. So just for reference for our visitors, Vlad is about to run down John le Carre.
Yeah. I really wish we had an opportunity to chat first, but it's
Sadly not.
Good first, ask questions later situation.
Okay, so Bankson jumps one way. You're missing the cage and the guy from the Africa Corps, and instead you plow into the box, into the man and the box beyond. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just going to let you take him out. Yeah. You just run him down with an 8-wheeled vehicle.
Yeah.
You crush the box. But the manifestation, Vlad, as you drive through that kind of manifesting shape above the box, you get a deep chill, and you fired enough guns to recognize the smell of cordite. You can smell hot metal and cordite, as if someone has been firing a lot of guns around here, apart from Lena. Lena, you're charging through this wall, yeah?
Just to finish, I rolled a 3 on a stress die, and I have 3, so my stress goes up.
No,
okay.
Roll for stress, it needs to exceed it, so you're okay.
I'm
you're
sorry.
Cool, Vlad. Lena.
Stop. No. He rolled a 6, Alan, so his stress would go up anyway.
No, only if he rolls a 6 on the stress dice. If it's the highest dice, if the stress dice is the highest.
The highest dice, but what's the rule when you roll a 6?
If you roll a 6, you get intel, you roll for stress because something disturbing happens.
Okay. I put mine up automatically, but that's fine.
Oh, okay, fine. So, Lena, what do you want to do? Because, you've just gone through this wall, you whisk past the fence, the damaged cage with the Africa Corps guy in it. You can see just over there the other cage with the frightened Bangladeshi man. And Bankson jumped that way. And this ethereal thing rushes through the armored vehicle with a smell of cordite and hot metal.
Okay, well, I think pop the cupola and gun Bankson down. Okay,
so there's probably a smaller squad automatic weapon on the top of this, so you're going to spin that at Bankson. Okay, let's cut to Jimmy. Jimmy, the sense I got was that you were running towards the barn, but I don't know that, I think.
Yeah, that was what I was doing. I was running towards the barn.
Fine. So you will arrive in the barn in a moment. Unjung, having recovered yourself and grabbed up an assault rifle, are you heading for the barn or somewhere else?
I am moving for the barn, but I'm also looking to see if there are people who are not the bad guys, who are trapped, who, people locked up, innocents, that kind of thing.
I think that is just the point where in all the chaos, someone has let go of one of the kind of spotlights that was illuminating the compound, and it swings across as Unjun looks up and illuminates the front of that less well-constructed building, and you see a lot of Bangladeshi faces at the windows.
Then I am running for there.
And if you can get him out, Unjung, that will give you access to a priest again.
Oh, good.
So, yeah,
Because
you
they
know.
were so helpful.
Lena, let's have you roll to confront the conspiracy and its pawns. No prisoners
Okay.
being taken today.
No. So I'll go for those, the stress dice, the normal dice, and the large weapon dice.
Indeed.
There we go. Let's see what we get.
Uh,
5 on the stress dice.
And that's the highest one, so your stress automatically goes up. But you succeed in applying plenty of stress to Brett Bankson stroke David Donald. The 30 mil rounds, you know, they don't hit him, but I think he's hit by shrapnel, because any one of those that hits is going to be an instant kill, but he takes harm. He certainly is kind of cowering as he's sprayed with concrete chips and the rest.
Yeah, we switched to the 7.62.
Okay, so likewise, you're not enough
Yep.
to take him down. He's not a goon. He has a bit more resilience about him. And in fact, he appears to be running towards the armored vehicle. Okay, from the side now, because he jumped one way. Jimmy, I think this is the point at which you arrive at the barn.
Bangladeshi man in the cage.
Okay, so you're making your way to the back of the barn where all this is happening, and you're focusing on the Bangladeshi man. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Vlad. You know, you crush the box. You have successfully kind of killed whoever was doing whatever they were doing. You've jammed on the brakes before you hit the back wall. What's the plan now?
Was the box anything ornamented, wooden, just coffin? I don't know.
To be honest, you just ran it down an 8-wheeler. You need to get out and have a look if you want to examine the box.
Probably I feel safer here. So probably I will do a 180. And well, if Brett is running this way, I'm going to drive toward him. I mean.
Okay, so you're reversing back and trying to face towards Bankson. I'll be honest with you, he's going to be at the side of the vehicle before you've kind of finished maneuvering. I won't make you roll for that. What I will tell you is, as you're looking to maneuver, the area inside the cage that Lena's shots took apart, the Africa Corps guy's cage, inside there is an area of open sand rather than concrete floor, which is what the rest of this place looks like. So Vlad is maneuvering. Lena, you had a crack at Bankson. Jimmy, you arrive and head to the back of this section of the building in search of helping the Bangladeshi man, yeah? There is also a technician on the loose here who is filming all of this, yeah? Let's have you, because I don't think there's a threat here, Jimmy, so it's just a question of getting into that cage.
What is the Africa Corps man doing?
The Africa Corps man is standing on the edge of the cage that Lena opened.
Yeah.
And seems to be observing events in a slightly superior, disinterested way at the minute.
Well, it sounds as though, like, at the moment, fictionally, the position is that our APC's got a bunch of heavy guns trained on everybody in this room. Well, Bankson is like cowering from bullets, right? Like,
I think the difficulty at the moment is that it's a pretty clumsy way to cover an entire room.
Yeah. But I come in and I'm like walking and I'm like, Bankson, on your fucking knees, you. Or should I say Donald?
Okay, Bankson is in motion towards the prisoner well carrier.
But there's no threat. Then I run over and I'm just yelling out like surrender as I try and get the guy out, like we've got you all covered kind of thing. Like
the technician puts his hands up.
Yeah.
So he won't be an obstacle. I just need you to roll, I think, intrusion to do something else to get smoothly into this cage and get him out.
Yeah.
Lena, you had a shot at him. He jumps onto the side of the vehicle. Would you, I think the best thing I can do is have you roll to do something else to stop him tearing that heavy machine gun off the cupola.
Okay. Just the normal die.
Yeah.
2.
this doesn't seem like a guy in a suit who, albeit is looking a little dusty, should be able to do. But he grabs hold of this gun that you've been training at him, and he simply tears it off the cupola and throws it across the room, and then turns back towards you. What do you do, Lena?
Draw a pistol and shoot him.
Shoot him. Fine. Vlad, you're still maneuvering. So now Bankson is on the cupola confronting Lena. You're maneuvering. Jimmy is getting the guy out of the cage. Let's cut to Unjung at the barracks for the field hands, the field workers. As you run towards them, you can see people backing off from the windows. What do you do?
I will move over, and even though it's super inefficient, I shoot the lock off the door.
I'm not going to make you roll for that. You're a bloody assassin. You could shoot the eye off a gnat.
And throw it open, and I'm yelling, Imshi, Imshi.
Okay, I think it's a question of, do they trust you? So I think this would be persuasion, authority, or something else.
Are there any other, like, of the guards or anything still out in the field that are around?
There's one over there.
Then I go, boom, and I shoot him to demonstrate what side I'm on.
I think that will give you the expertise you need to roll with expertise, stress dice if you want it.
So yeah, let's. I'm already at 4. Why not roll with the stress die? Because the stress die came up a 5, meaning that my stress will go up to 5.
But you do succeed, and a guy comes forward and in kind of broken English or Arabic or whatever else, that he thinks you might be able to speak. He says, "Please don't hurt us.
Run! Get in the vehicles! Get out of here!"
Yes, sir. Yes, madam. And they're heading out. So you have given them a chance for freedom, Unjung, which was all that was required of you. I think Vlad. You've turned it round. The difficulty is now Bankson is on the vehicle.
Well, I look through this window, look through this glass, because there was something formulating shadow, human form. Where is it?
There's no sign of it, but you've still got that. It's almost like, at the back of your throat, there's the taste of hot metal and cordite. But Lena's been trying to rotate the turret to catch Bankson, and you're using any observation you've got. There's no sign of this thing.
Yeah. Probably hear the. So did he tear off entire turret or just the gun?
Oh, just the gun, just the heavy machine gun.
Is there anything hanging from the? Do I see anything on some height in this room hanging from the ceiling that I could drive by to hit Bankson, which is on my car?
Oh, that's an interesting. If you were to reverse through the hole you just made in the wall, that would, maybe
catch him on the lintel.
Yeah.
Or make a new one.
Or make a different. Yeah, just reverse through that wall behind you.
Yeah, let's make another hole in the wall behind us. Let's put it on reverse.
Unjung, I'm assuming, having got them out, you are heading to the barn, or do you have another plan?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm heading that way.
Jimmy, you let's have you.
I rolled a 4 on that on my normal dice.
Success. The guy comes out and he's clearly terrified.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fucking run, mate.
and he does. And Unjung, as you're coming into the kind of vehicle bit of the barn, this terrified Bangladeshi man is running out towards, and he sees you, and he kind of comes to a dead stop, and he'll see some of his friends heading for the hills, heading into that desert, conceivably. But we'll worry about that at a later time. Jimmy, as you turn round and see where he's gone, you're looking at the back of the guy in the Afrika Korps uniform, and as you're looking at him, the back of his head forms his face, and the back of his body forms the front of his body. Would you roll for stress, please?
Sure. That is a 2.
Oh, cool,
I've seen
cool.
weirder shit than this.
Well, there you go. And he's now walking across the sandy area in your direction towards the undamaged side of the fence.
I mean, if he starts walking towards me, then I think there's only really one response to something that's just moved its head from one side to the other, based
Okay.
on my past experiences, and that's to shoot it, frankly.
Fine. So
Yeah.
go ahead, spray it with your heavy machine gun.
Yes.
If you run out of ammo, there's another one over there that Bankson tore off the vehicle.
That is 3 6s. I didn't roll a failure dice though, so I should probably have rolled a failure dice.
No,
right?
because it needs to cover the ground to you.
Oh, I see. So
Yeah.
but so I rolled 6s basically. So my stress goes up.
It does, but you get brilliant success, which means that you apply 2 stress to this thing. But the slightly odd thing is that as these heavy caliber rounds thud into, they seem to pass through him in what looks for all the world like a puff of dust. And he just doesn't even blink.
So I'm going to call this the Djinn. And I guess Bangson's a supernatural creature as well, right?
He's certainly behaving like one.
Yeah. Okay. So I've just put them on the creatures thing.
Okay.
Cool.
Lena, he is now up close and personal with you. Are you going to shoot him again with your handgun?
Yeah, actually, I binged the pistol. Let's go with a machete. Yeah. That way, I could have got that picture of me saying, "Drive me closer. I want to hit him with my sword, lad."
Okay, so you're rolling with hand-to-hand expertise. Stress dice if you want it. But Brett Bankson is now a full-blooded thrall of the conspiracy. So he is rolling with 3 risk die.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, look at that.
He got a 5.
He got a 5. You didn't do any harm on him. I mean, it must be said that, you did do some harm to him earlier. But the machete kind of, you go in and he just stops it with his hand and just hits you. Would you roll for a consequence, please? You are rolling with -1 on the dice against a supernatural creature.
I do have a bulletproof vest.
Fine, then that will cancel this consequence, but the vest is now destroyed. Yeah? Such is the force of that punch. The bruising is going to be there for a while, Lena. Vlad, all hell is breaking out all around you. You're comfortable in the little cupola that allows you to drive. You're reversing towards this wall.
Yeah, I put on reverse, hoping to make another wall and throw Bangston down so I can then drive forward on him.
So let's start with, I think this is doing harm with a heavy vehicle. Okay. So yes. You are rolling to confront the conspiracy and its pawns without expertise because you can't drive. So you're rolling the middle dice and the green dice, but frankly, there's nothing Bankson can do to you, so you forget the risk dice.
That's really Does he get the heavy dice?
He gets the heavy dice because I think it is a very big building, a very big vehicle, and that's a very solid concrete wall.
So the black below it. Oh yeah, nice.
So stress is 5. Stress goes up by 1, Vlad, automatically. But you do harm to him, and I'm going to have Bankson knocked off the vehicle as you run through it, as Lena ducks down under the cupola, and that takes his stress to 0. So I'm very happy for you to just roll over him if you want to.
Yes. Do we need to declare all of this to vulnerabilities to get rid of him or not?
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Okay. Yep.
But Jimmy, you do have a problem. As Unjung, you arrive into this scene of carnage to see the guy in the Afrika Korps uniform walk towards this fence, this mesh wall, and he just walks through it as though the wire just passes through him, but he maintains his coherence. Would you roll for stress, please, Unjung? Now, Unjung, I have noticed that you are on 5 stress. Would this be a time when you'd like to seek relief from the horror before I ask you to roll for stress? You are muted.
I have a point of intel which I'm going to burn
Fine.
to take myself down to 4.
And then
gonna-
let's have you roll the stress dice, a 5 or a 6, and that stress will go back up.
Okay.
But right now it is 4.
Okay, we've made my adjustments here, so that's that. Mark off the intel.
Always good to have some intel in your back pocket.
Let's just roll that stress die.
Oh, up it goes again. So stress is
Thank you,
still
John
5.
Grimm. Thank you once again.
I mean, it's not as though the dice roller knows when you need low or need high, or does it?
Or does it?
Jimmy, you see that, you've already rolled for stress for this thing, revealing some of its characteristics. What are you going to do?
Can I spend an intel?
What would you like to spend it on?
So at this point, would I be spending an intel for a compulsion?
I think you are.
And I think I will have obey master creator, I think, as a compulsion.
I'll be honest with you, narratively, there's no master present.
Okay.
So you're probably on dodgy ground with that one. I warn you now.
Addicted to master's blood? No, there's no master present. Attracted to mortal blood. Let's go.
Attracted to mortal blood.
Yeah. I
You
think
are the
that-
nearest mortal. I just need you to know.
Yes, but there's also a couple of dead ones around. us.
Aha, fine. I thought you might want the human
maybe-
flesh.
Because we already had one that was addicted to human flesh, didn't we?
Well, you did.
So yes, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
And does he turn into like sand as he goes through these things? Or
You might say that. I couldn't possibly comment at this point.
well, just imagining perhaps that like as he incorporates some flesh, it's like
Just-
sands through the hourglass, like back up
Yeah.
towards him. Yeah.
And he walks through that mesh, and then he looks across and he sees the crushed remains of that old man who was summoning something. And he goes towards it, and he does turn into a pile of sand. The sand flows, he collapses into a pile of sand that flows over this old man. And when he reforms, all that's left on the ground is a desiccated skeleton with some skin stretched over the bones. But it's going to take him a little while to finish doing that, Jimmy, so you have bought yourself some time with that compulsion. Unjung, you're seeing all of this. What do you want to do?
I am looking around for anything that can be used as an explosive, a flamethrower, any kind of incendiary. I am looking around to put together some kind of weapon.
Okay, that's a technical kind of expertise thing. I'm trying to think what I can give you here. There was a generator. There's an electrical generator in the corner of the room that was running an electric current through the cage in which Africa Core was being held. But that's the generator still ticking over. But it's no longer connected to the cage because of the damage Lena did to it.
But that is Vlad's area of expertise,
It
right?
is Vlad's area of expertise.
Then I will scream to Vlad. Where is Vlad? I look around. Where is Vlad?
Vlad is in the driving seat inside that vehicle there that just kind of rolled through the ball and came back over Bankston.
I'm screaming at Vlad. Vlad, get out of the truck!
see
Get
Vlad
out of the truck!
holding
Get out
his
of the
ear,
truck!
where you yell into his ear. Lena, you're on the top. You can see this happening. I'm not going to make you roll for stress because I don't think you're close enough to be really, shocked by it, but you see it happening. Is there anything you want to do? Oh, you are muted.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to ask Vlad, do you want to get out and deal with what she wants, Vlad? I don't mind taking over driving if you want, or do you want to batten down the hatches? I don't know. Choice is yours.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I took out one. Now it's time for the second one. So yeah, I open the hatch, I jump out,
Lad, I'm going to allow you to make an investigate roll using technical. Yeah. So I have the opportunity to tell you what you might have noticed. So
Sure.
you're rolling with expertise, the stress dice if you want it. Oh, will you look at that? A 6, and it's not on the stress dice. You noticed as you drove through the wall the first time, you noticed where Lena had damaged the cage that was holding Africa Core. And you noticed that there was electrical current going through that cage. But the cage was made out of really light gauge metal. Physically, it would be no kind of boundary. But what you are thinking is that Africa Core was contained inside a Faraday cage. Okay?
Okay.
You have another cage in which the Bangladeshi man was held, which is still intact, and you have an electrical generator. I will leave the rest to you. Jimmy, this pile of sand is consuming the remains of the occultist who summoned something out of that box. Unjung, you're yelling for Vlad and he's just clambering out. Is there anything you want to do now that Vlad is responding to your call?
I'm just trying to like provide cover fire or keep us from getting jumped by anybody else at this point.
Okay, because at some point the surviving goons out there are going to get at least partially organized, and so I think that is the threat that is coming from that direction. Yeah,
I'll get behind a like some kind of cover and I'll start putting pot
there's
shots.
plenty of rubble.
Yeah. But essentially, when it looks like somebody is like, okay, guys, let's poop. I put a bullet in him. Okay. You know, and I wait for the next person who seems like they might want to take charge.
Fine. Let me have you. I'm going to have you roll to do something else with deadly, simply to hold them off. Yeah.
Sure.
So that's the orange dice, the silver dice, the black dice at the bottom, and the green dice. If you want to put stress in there, but
I'm not going to
I
put
am
stress.
conscious that stress is. Now, I will remind you, if one of those comes up 6, you will end up having to roll for stress. So I will just, again, when you're on 5, do you want to think about seeking relief from the horror in some way?
Not yet.
Okay, when the 6 comes up.
2, 3, 3.
They are taking cover around the door into this barn, and one of them has managed to reach the lever that opens the roller door. So the roller doors are rolling up.
We need to get going.
Lena, you're getting out of the cupola into the driving space?
No, so from the cupola, I will rotate it to face these goons, and in my Middle Eastern general's outfit, holding the hilt of my machete, because the rest of the machete is gone, I will use authority and persuasion to persuade them to lay down their arms. We've killed all their premier fighters. They are nothing but tank fodder.
Okay, let's have you roll with authority, because that seems like authority. Persuade seems a little bit softer than that. So roll with expertise as you turn on the vehicle's public address system.
Okay, I will spend a point of intel to lower my stress, but I won't use the stress dice.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's see what we get. A 6.
I didn't see the stress dice roll for what it's worth.
No, I didn't roll it. I lowered stress.
And I think actually, brilliant success. I'm gonna begin to see the surviving 5 or 6, and a number of scientists who are coming out of the barracks, kind of lying on the ground. Yeah.
Down on your buckles. Now I rolled a 6 there, so I gain intel, but I've got to roll stress. Yeah.
You do, because
that's fine.
Because you glance over your shoulder. At where now you do see what that pile of sand is doing to that body.
Let's roll the stress dice. It's a 1.
It's just a dry body. Yeah. I guess, folks, the question now is whether you use this opportunity to flee the scene or whether you want to confront this pile of sand.
I vote for capture the sand.
Well, I think capturing the sand involves getting it in that cage and then taking said cage away, which I think is beyond our capabilities.
No, then we put him in a box. We scoop the sand up.
We have to electrify the box. It's not just a box. We need to Faraday cage something.
Well, there's a generator. We've got a thing. Put the cage over the sand.
The cage is 4 meters square.
Yeah, it's a big thing. But I am totally up for we chuck him into that cage and then we leave the bomb and we drive off into the sunset. Oh, does that sound like a plan? Vlad's just leapt out of it to deal with technical equipment, which I assume is this array of gear, right?
I think that's it. You need to tempt the sand into the other cage and then have Vlad turn the current on.
Yeah, which is...
Can I just use just electricity cables on it and just like poke it with cables full of electricity to kill it?
Yeah, I mean, well, you could try that. You could just try running up to it, Vlad, because this is your super bad, Vlad. This is your super bad moment. If you want to run up to it with a live cable while it's feeding,
I'm just waiting for my moment.
Unjung is going to say something.
Now, Jimmy, you've established that it desires mortal blood,
human flesh.
Okay. Then I will run to back Vlad up because I am bleeding.
Licking blood at the sand.
Yep.
Can I spend deterrent to make it electricity?
You can. I think. I think I've given you that as a vulnerability, right? It's not on your list, I tell you now, because we're off book here. But Vlad has drawn that conclusion with his 6 for technical earlier. So then Vlad,
I think this is all Vlad. Yeah, Jimmy is just like backing away, and then Vlad's running over, right? Like,
so Vlad, you've made sure the generator's going. You've got a cable. You've torn it off the side of the cage where it wasn't doing any good, and you're approaching this pile of sand as it writhes around this this body.
Yeah, I'm setting the generator to like overcharge, whatever. Yeah, second overcharge. Yeah, why not? Press the big red button and then run to it with these cables.
Now look, this isn't an attack. You are trying to disrupt it with electricity because it's its vulnerability. You've jumped straight to the bank. So you are rolling with expertise. Technical expertise. You are rolling with the bonus dice because you've got an electric generator churning out enough electricity to have contained it previously. So do you want to include distress dice?
Of course.
Okay.
And
go for it.
And the risk dice. And the risk dice.
And say again.
And the risk dice.
No, because it's busy. It's distracted. I'm going to give you that. Well, will you look at that? And as it writhes, there is a point at which you hit it with the current. And then what do we see that proves that you've taken this thing out? At least for now.
I think it turns into it was like sand, and now it turns into like black sand, like an ash, and it's like smoking.
Fine. You have prisoners outside. You have field hands running into the fields outside. I don't know who's left for you to escape. So, I'm going to award each of you an additional intel just because you have cleaned out this nest and you have leisure to go through the files. You have leisure to worry about. Hang on, for some reason Windows wants to do a restart. That would not be a good idea at this point. Hang on. Okay, we're saved. Okay. So I'm going to award you each a point of intel simply for what you managed. I should have got a map. Okay. I should have seen that one coming, Paul. And that, I think, is where we kind of roll credits on this one, as we see you just loading stuff into the back of this armored personnel carrier to drive across the desert.
Yeah, just a question to my team, because our objective was to stop whatever they are doing. As we are driving into the sunset, do we see the big explosion from the C4?
I think we have to see the bomb that they made.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you probably leave one of the scientists with a radio so that they can call for, emergency help if they dare. So let us just do a bit of debrief. Did the team achieve a stated objective of the operation? Yes, you did. So all of you can reduce stress by 1. Did the team neutralize a significant member of the conspiracy or a beast? My goodness me, you did. You neutralized a djinn, you neutralized a thrall, you neutralized an occultist, and a deadly assassin. I would normally just knock it down by 1. I'm going to knock, oops, Daisy, where are we? I'm going to take 3 off heat at this point, because I think, they are going to be sweeping up the debris from this for some weeks, it seems to me. And you also have a load of stuff that you've taken, that you managed to dig out of their files. I will say, Vlad, that taste of cordite and that smell at the back of your throat of hot metal, you cannot shake it. We see you drinking water. Can't shake it. We'll worry about that at a later date. The debrief is that you have discovered a lot of details about a project Przyjaciel. That is the Russian for summoner. And I will fill you in between now and next time of what that means, and we can have that online discussion, because we're not playing next week, we're playing the week after that, about where that takes you. But the fact that it's Russian may suggest where you are heading. Okay. So I'm going to call it there. We'll do a bit of downtime at the start of next time, I think, because we've only got 10 minutes, and frankly, a bit of downtime now will be just boring after all of that excitement and explosions. So I would like a quick stars and wishes, if you're agreeable. Let me go. Let's have a change. Lowell, let's start with you. Any stars?
Good, fast, focused. Thought there was a good point at the beginning where we stopped and really narrowed in on how we're going to do it. And we didn't come up with a solution and then suddenly go, okay, now here's another solution, then start to argue about that, which is a thing we've seen before. So that was good. I liked the challenges here. This is a time where the establishing of challenges for the scene really felt good. Like I got how that worked, and that was fun. And I thought everybody did a nice job in their own parallel stuff that met up at the end. So good all around.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Pavel, any stars?
A star to Lowell for a cool assassin duel. A star to Pavel for inventing the APC. It was an excellent tool, helped us immensely. A star for Rook for being a cool guy on the watch, and also grabbing some evidence with an M60, and for coming up with a good plan. And star for Alan for keeping it rolling forward.
Yeah, thank you for that. What about you, Paul? Any stars?
I think it's a really good ramping up there, Alan, of the game. It started slow, and the slow's good at the start, and finished on a really good high point. And I think all the players, again, there was no real jumping on other people's feet. It worked really well, and even though we didn't always have the right skill sets, we always got there. Awesome kill count for Pavel tonight. yeah, yeah, really good from everybody. Yeah, really good.
Not that anyone's counting, of course, but and that's not the object of the game entirely. Will, any stars?
Yeah, this is what happens when you have an APC to deal with the supernatural creatures and everything. I enjoyed having a very focused, like fighty kind of like, this was like a commando raid, it was great. And I loved that Vlad got to just run over Bangson, scraping him off on the side of the wall. And I did like that, who was, always giving the authority to people, and then just blew that wall open with machine guns once you got our hands on it. And Yunjun got to have a John Woo fight, which is, definitely one of the highlights of the whole thing is just imagining the pitch battle, with like people running around, firelight twitching, like we were cutting backwards and forwards throughout every other scene, right? Watching this exchange throughout the whole thing. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, stars from me. Thank you for your obstacles, which gave me some interesting toys to play with. Vlad, Pavel, I was nervous that you were setting Vlad up to confront a super bad, but then stuff fell together, so that was great. I did enjoy the fight in the flames, Lowell. I have to say, I did enjoy those descriptions. And yeah, Paul, I wasn't entirely certain what I was going to do with an APC or how I was going to use it, but it proved great fun. I have to say, it really was great. And I love the idea that everybody's getting stuck in over there, and Jimmy's on the roof, and then he goes to the lab. But Lowell also, kudos for spotting the innocent potential victims and saving them. That was all good stuff. Any wishes? Background to Lowell. What do you want to see in our finale in a couple of weeks' time?
Gee, I know I guess I would like to switch gears to a little more. There's always like the ramp up, ramp down. I definitely think it should be something that doesn't invite us to go in guns blazing. But that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I think I can manage that. I shall write down avoid guns blazing ... until ... Okay. Let's Pavel, any wishes for next time?
I sort of wish we had few more recon actions, because I very much feel that we just are often going a little bit blind, especially if we're all too many misses. We don't even get to ask questions. So I don't know, just a little bit more recon to know stuff better before we go. I
will remind you that you can get a reroll in this game if you call on a contact and can kind of come up with a creative way in which a contact could give you a reroll.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, I think I need to save my sister, so we will see. We'll see what situation she's in.
I wonder where Svetlana is. ... Yeah, I mean, I have to somehow involve Svetlana in this. I just seems a no-brainer to me. I can't now for the moment think how, but I will do my best.
Because right now she can only be saved by action. I cannot spend Inter to like keep her safe.
No. Once they've got her, the only way to get her is to stage an operation to rescue her or come across her in an operation.
Okay.
Yeah. Paul, wishes for next time?
More good RPG, mate, as we've had. Yeah, don't really want anything special.
Okay, right.
Well,
just more
unless a ballistic missile can somehow get in there.
Call it a contact. There must be someone with a drone somewhere. I think the rules now say something like, but Control should try to avoid mass destruction as a simple solution.
We can always have a fight in a bunker or in a silo.
Okay, we'll think about bunkers and silos, but not guns blazing. Just to be clear, okay. And finally, Will, any wishes for next time?
Well, one, I definitely want to save some anchors in danger, probably Svetlana. And I think I would like it to be kind of like Atomic Blonde, because it's the finale, right? So I don't want it to be completely like men in suits meeting in benches and nothing happening kind of thing. But maybe more like Atomic Blonde in that, it's all very tense Moscow rules and everything. And then, because we're in Moscow, I assume. So it should be a fitting place.
I didn't say that.
It's a fitting place for it. But, it'll probably go to hell and back at some point, right?
Okay. My wish is just to see where this goes. So I thank you for that. I'm going to stop the recording now.